last game against Hudson University was really a big game that would have pushed their record to 9-1 and possibly on top of the conference.
Another touchdown run there at Topa Field. Big defensive stop.
Miller finishing it off. What's next?
All right, and our next sport we're going to be covering for the fall is men's soccer. Men's soccer finished with a 12-6-3 record. They finished 5-2-2 in the conference, and they lost in double overtime to Gordon in the CCC finals this past Saturday. 5 players collecting the CCC accolades are Alessandro Oggiano, Casey Kiely, Jordan Borges, Rich Ventura, and James Davies. Myself, I had the chance to broadcast a couple of these men's soccer games, and from what I've seen broadcasting the games, the men's team is very, very full of talent. The 12-6-3 record doesn't really have much to say because every game I was there, we played great. We came out on top. As a Salve fan, I mean, I think the men's soccer team had a very good chance this year. But that big loss in double overtime to Gordon really summed up their whole season. It's very unfortunate that that one loss to Gordon had to come down to the end of their season.
There's a goal from Alessandro Oggiano. Big goal scorer for them this season. Another goal in their big game against Roger.
Just up the road in Bristol.
This game sent them into the semifinals. Always got big team celebrations after those goals.
Yeah, for sure.
Next sport is field hockey. Field hockey had a strong season, finishing 9-6 overall and 2-4 in conference play. Although towards the end of the season, they were tied as far as seeding with Gordon, and that sadly didn't go in our favor when it came down to it. And I believe it came down to fewest goals allowed. So we sadly did not make it. But a highlight game would be our game against Roger Williams. Salve went down 2-0, and then eventually came back, tied it up, sent it to overtime, and Eliza Timms had an amazing game-winning goal. And our junior goalie, Casey Phoebus, had a fantastic game, came in clutch those last couple minutes.
And we're underway here in overtime. Next goal will win this game. She slides it in, up top to Frazier. Waiting, throws it on the cage, ball loose, Timms has it, trying to turn, Timms throws it in the cage and they score! Eliza Timms wins the game! A stunning, dramatic, incredible comeback here for the Seahawks.
Our next sport we'll be covering is women's soccer. They finished 6-12-1 overall. They finished 6-2-1 in the conference. They also had 2 CCC all-conference players, which were Olivia Picard and Megan McLaughlin. Personally, myself, I am on the baseball team, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast. I had the opportunity to actually watch many of the women's soccer practices because we share the same field as them, as the baseball field. So I can see all the drills, all the hard work they've been putting in all season, all the good coaching prompts they've been putting in. So necessarily their 6-2-1 overall record doesn't reflect that either. I can see they've been putting in a lot of hard work and are definitely coming in next season to improve on that for sure.
This is a dangerous spot. This is a great opportunity here for Clark. Free kick from just outside the 18 at the corner of the box. Seahawks set up the wall, but in a way that kind of shields Drake. Here's the kick, and it's going to fall right into the arms of Drake. Picard's kick. Driven towards the net, headed on the goal, and they score! Zoe Cox again! Seahawks have generated both of their goals off corners. Picard driven to the net, headed on the goal! Zoe Cox! Third time! Is that ball on a rope to Zoe Cox? The kick on the ground almost got to the left foot of Cox. They try to get it back to her. That one bounced around in front and they score! McLaughlin! And it's 4-1.
All right, next up we got women's tennis, and they finished 5-6 overall and 3-4 in conference play. And they also got the great honor of winning the CCC Sportsmanship Award for the team, or throughout all the teams in the CCC. I think that's a great award to win, and I think it reflects really well not only in the tennis team but also on the whole athletic department and school. And Sailor Nordstrom also earned second team All-CC in singles, which is also a great honor.
I think it's a real honor for our team to be named sportsmanship or to get the sportsmanship award for the league. It says a lot about our athletes and about the school, and they are good sports, and it's a real honor to receive that. Sailor deserves all the accolades she gets. She works really hard in practice and is a great team player. She's just at the tip of the iceberg, I believe, and has a bright future in front of her, which is good for us at Salve.
Our next sport to cover is women's volleyball. I wish we had men's volleyball, but sadly we do not here at Salve. Women's volleyball finished 15-10 overall. They finished 6-3 in the conference, and they made it to the CCC semifinals. 5 players won all CCC honors. These 5 players were Nicole Karabash, Madison Lee, Kate Murphy, Caitlin O'Brien, and Brighton Solem.
I had the honor of working a lot of volleyball games this season, and I always purposely signed up for them because I thought they were so entertaining. I thought the team did so well. I thought the coach always prepared them very well for each game. They were always exciting. Some of them they came back. I think they had a game or two where they came back from being down 2 sets and coming back and winning. So they were always exciting, fun games to go to, and if you can next year, I would recommend going to those.
All right, and that about wraps it up for our fall sports. Now we're moving on to our winter sports. So let's talk about basketball. Men's basketball had their home opener this past Sunday, and they're off to an 0-1 start after just taking the about 10-point loss. I had the opportunity to work that game in broadcast, and from what I could tell, Salve had the lead the whole entire game. They were playing great basketball until it came to the end, and their defense kind of broke down, and that's what caused the slight 10-point deficit at the end of the game. So I'm sure Coach Foster for the basketball team has a lot of emphasis on defense over these next couple of practices, and that should lead them to more success in the future. Up next, we have women's basketball. Women's basketball has yet to have their first game. They actually hosted a scrimmage the same day men's basketball, but they are yet to have their home opener or season opener yet. Their season opener is actually this Wednesday, November 10th, which is at Salem State University.
For women's hockey, they're off to an 0-3 start, but that does not worry me at all. I think the team has been working really hard on and off the ice, early mornings, hard practices. I think they'll start seeing some results soon. And men's hockey is off to a 1-2 start, splitting the past 2 games with Endicott. They had a loss at home and a win at Endicott. So I think the men's hockey team has a bright season ahead of them. They're ranked pretty high, so I think they have a bright future.
That about wraps it up for winter sports. Also, something to mention, the baseball team had an outing on Sunday, which was a prospect camp. In these prospect camps, the baseball team, high school students would sign up. We had about 50 to 60 high school students at the field showcasing their talents for Salve Regina, and if they would possibly want to join the school and come on to the school for on the baseball team. I would say the highlight of the day at the camp was watching one of the kids hit an absolute home run. I mean, we don't even see these balls hit at our practices. That's how you know we had some really good talent at this field. So the ball, basically, we have our left field fence. Over our left field fence is our bullpen. Over that is a couple of parking spaces and gravel. Over that is a little bit of an area where we keep dirts of piles of dirt and clay, and that ball was hit into the piles of dirt and clay. So that's how you know it was a pretty good shot. So yeah, that about wraps it up for the baseball outing Sunday. And next, without further ado, we'd like to welcome our first host.
After our commercial break.
After our commercial break, we'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. All right, and we're back here with freshman Tucker Coleman. Tucker, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a freshman at Salve Regina. I'm from Montauk, New York, which is just a ferry ride and a drive from New London away. And I'm undecided, but I'm really liking the surf here at Salve, and it's been really fun this past fall.
Yeah, was that your biggest draw to come to Salve?
Yeah, I was really looking for a school on the coast, and there weren't many options on the East Coast because I wanted to be close to home. And it was cool to see like the vibe here, and it seemed like the perfect fit.
Yeah,
So I'm
awesome.
psyched to come here.
Are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's been really fun. The surf's been fun, meeting a lot of the local kids, a couple of people who surf here at Salve, and some older guys who I respect and most of the locals respect. It's really cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple of questions for you to kick it off. First one, when did you start surfing? How old were you?
I really started surfing when I was like 10. I got my first real board when I was 10, but I've always been attracted to the ocean like from a young age. And I started skateboarding first, like when I was around 5, and that kind of attracted me to it. And then I just learned how to swim, learned to played a couple other board sports in the water, like skimboarding and boogie boarding, and then it just kind of came naturally to start surfing when I was like around 10 years old.
That's awesome.
What would you say is one of your favorite surf destinations, or maybe coolest surf trips you've ever taken?
I went to Nicaragua that was my first real surf trip with my dad and my friends, and it was really crazy to like see a whole different culture and explore all these different waves and like see the localism there and the different food and just be excited to be in a different place besides home. And it was cool because it was warm and it was really fun with my friends, and I was young.
Also,
cool.
too, your future vacations, I'm sure surfing is always going to have to play into anywhere you go on vacation in the future. You're going to have to plan a bunch for surfing trips. That must be something really fun to look forward to.
Yes.
Next question. What events have you taken place in? What's your surfing history or any specific highlights that you would like to go over?
Well, I competed in the East Coast Championships last April, and it was like my first contest for this like sort of association, which is the NSSA, the National Scholastic Surfing Association, which is like all throughout the U.S. And like it was the best kids from the East Coast, and I ended up placing all finals in my events and taking third and fourth and a second home. And I was really excited because it was my first contest in that like sort of scholastic event, and I'm going to nationals in a week actually from now. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be in Huntington Beach.
Oh, it's very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Does the NSSA have affiliation with the WSL? Is there any affiliation?
A little bit. It's just like a feeder into the bigger events. Like if you do well in East Coast Championships, you're going to get recognition to go to the national championships. And if you do well there, then you could wind up with sponsorships, like contracts and stuff. And like you're definitely going to get noticed by people from the like bigger stage and more in the limelight. So yeah, it's like not real. They don't have a direct feeder into it, but people from the WSL are definitely looking out for younger talent.
Yeah, awesome. And for the viewers at home who don't know, the WSL is the World Surf League, and that's the professional level surf league. They tour all around the world and compete for a world title.
Yes.
Yeah, keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
So, do you have any favorite surfing lingo?
I don't have any like. It's not really like I don't have any favorite lingo. It just kind of comes natural to me. Like, however my friends and I talk in the lineup, that's just how it is. But people have definitely come up to me and said like, "Why do you talk like that?" But it's just like how I talk. I haven't really thought like twice about it.
So my reasoning for that question, we actually dug up a surfing dictionary. It is called the Surfinary. We have it right here. The
Never heard of this ever before.
So I dug up a couple of my favorite definitions, and let's just see if you have any clue what they are. So the first one is kook.
Yeah, I know what a kook is.
Yeah?
A kook's like someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just like in the water, just kind of flailing around, not really in tune with what they're doing, and then they don't really know what to do at all.
Yep.
And are getting in people's way.
Do you follow Kook Slams on Instagram?
Of course.
It's the best Instagram page.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to give that a follow. Our next definition, a burger. Would you know what a burger is?
I've heard of that. It's like I refer to like I'm pretty sure you're talking about like a wave in that it's like a fat like slow wave.
Yeah.
Like we call it a mush burger back at where I live.
Okay.
But we just call the waves like either like mush burgers, soft, fat waves. Those waves are just like where you want a longboard instead of they're not very powerful waves. Yeah.
And then how about churns? Have you ever heard of churns before?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
People use a lot of different like sort of words for that. It's like impact, like you get churned or like tossed around in the impact zone. Yeah. And it's basically when you take a slam on like a kook slam, pretty much.
A good way the dictionary put it, they said to take a trip through the washing machine.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
All right, thank you, Tucker, for coming on.
Of
We're
course.
We're going to head to commercial break before we have Dr. Axon on.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
welcome back from break. We are here with our new guest. Our new guest is Dr. Axon. And Dr. Axon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm our new faculty athletics rep. So I'm a member right now in the biology department. I've been at Salve since 2014, so that makes me just feel old. So a little while. So I've just started this position, and what I'm doing here is a liaison between the academic side of the Salve House and then the athletic side. And I'm very passionate about both, so I've been an athlete my whole life, and I was all 4 years in college, I was a nationally ranked pole vaulter, actually, so I understand some of the amazing things that you guys do when you're doing your athletics and how challenging it can be. But then again, teaching in the bio department, I also understand how much of a struggle academics can be and how hard that can be just on its own. So I'm sort of the go-between between the athletic side and the academic side, and then a few more things other than that. So just working with both groups to make sure that we can make everybody, rise to the top and do the best they can.
And you've also competed in many marathons, also including the Ironman triathlon. So based off of that, what is your biggest goal you've achieved so far in your running career?
That's a tough one. So I do have a couple. So running or racing an Ironman distance triathlon is probably one of my biggest accomplishments. So that's if you don't know, it's a very long race. It's a 2.5 mile swim and then a 112-mile bike ride, and then you do a marathon, which is 26.2 miles after that. So accomplishing one is certainly, it's a good goal.
Yeah.
I've gone back and I've done 5 of them total. So finishing them is something I'm very proud of. I mean, they're a great analogy for life and struggle and overcoming difficulties, among other things. Something I'm probably the most proud of, a couple things. So competing at national level triathlons, slightly shorter, is a big one. And then qualifying for the Boston Marathon, my first marathon that I ever ran, and then running that with one of my sisters the year after the marathon bombing was one of the most poignant athletic experiences I've ever had.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, totally. I was looking it up online how long an Ironman would take to run, and it said somewhat close to 24 hours or somewhere around then. Would you mind sharing, or do you remember how long it took you to complete your best time?
So they cut you off at 17 hours. So everybody
Okay.
starts at 7 a.m. and then you have until midnight to get yourself all the way through all that. So my fastest one is just under 11 and a half hours,
Wow.
which
Wow.
is pretty good. Certainly not pro level, but decent. Most people on average finish around 14, but boy, you learn a lot. So my second one, I went into it totally overconfident, thinking, yeah, I'm going to crush it. I was up at Lake Placid. I went out way too hard on the bike, did an excellent job on the bike, and died on the run. And then I learned that you can walk 20 miles in 6 hours. So, you learn these things as you go.
Yeah.
But.
Yep. So this, I'm sure you have to come up with a lot of preparation in order to do all this work for the triathlon and marathon. So could you draw a correlation between running these marathons and triathlons and teaching biology? Because they're both not easy things to do, and they're both very difficult. So how do you go about that?
Yeah, definitely. So those two things, in some ways, they're similar. I mean, you can't do all of your training for an athletic event, baseball or lacrosse.
Yeah.
All at once. You have to do little pieces at a time, and teaching is like that, being a student is like that. You're always learning, you're always improving, you're always working on it a little bit just to make sure that you never stop trying, you never stop moving. So there's a lot of that. Biology is very compatible with athletic training because we do a lot of physiology, we do a lot of anatomy, so I'm sure everybody has spent a little time at a PT doing physical therapy. So, it's kind of neat. I did some of that this spring, and you get to chat with the physical therapist about, which muscle is that? And we tweak that one. What does it do? So there's some commonalities. They're both, you learn a lot from both of them to help with the other. So you have to be persistent. You have to overcome struggle because there's things that you may not see it as a student, but the faculty have their own sets of struggles and difficulties that we work and we fight to overcome too. So it's a lot of lessons about not giving up and doing your best, and you just keep trying. You fall down and you get up and you get back out there. So.
I forgot to mention earlier in the podcast, we are actually in the same class together this semester. I'm taking your biology class, intro class this semester. And I believe, I remember you mentioned you were a triplet. Is that correct?
Yep, I'm an identical triplet.
So, is this true, or I believe you mentioned your sister ran one of the marathons with you. Do they also take part in all these activities?
They do, a little less. I'll take a quick tangent here because none of this I would have come up with on my own. I actually blame both of them solidly for all of the long distance stuff that I do. So scan back a few years, and I was working on finishing my PhD thesis, and that's very stressful, and you're always tired, and you're just working all the time. And I remember the exact moment when my sisters decided that we should run an Ironman together. And I was thinking, oh no, and I used some colorful language to say no to that whole proposition. And then I let it kind of still and grow for a couple of years, and then I ended up racing an Ironman, and then just kept doing it. And I want to point out that neither one of them have done that. So, but they both run long distance events, and they're both very good athletes in their own rights. So yes.
All right. Well, that's about it for us. Thank you so much for your time coming out on Seahawk Talk, and that'll be it. Let's wrap up to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back. So you want to, after I introduce myself? Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Season 4 of Seahawk Talk. We'll be here at the same time, same day, 5 o'clock Monday evenings. I'm Kylie Callahan, and this is...
I'm Jeremy Gutierrez.
Thank you for watching, and see you next week.
See you next week.